Duncan, Oklahoma.
Rockford, Michigan.
Washington, Missouri.
Ritter, Louisiana.
Grove, Oklahoma.
Vernon, Florida.
I'm from Sneeds.
Meridian, Mississippi.
I'm from Okmulgee.
Lancaster, South Carolina.
Ashcombe, Illinois.
Ditmer, Missouri.
Weatherford, Oklahoma.
St. John's, Michigan.
Indiana and northern Wisconsin.
In Monette, Missouri.
A little town called Watson, Illinois.
Deer, no deer, no deer. Yeah, I'm going to come back to where the deer was, right? So your dog will learn some of that. You need to learn to read your dog some, but sometimes if it's extensive, you can't get through it. Your dog can't get through it. At that point, that's where you as the handler are the brains of the operation, and that's where you start thinking, what can I do to get my dog back on the track, because the dog can't do it.
If you're going to get in it and you want to get serious, you need to go to events like this.
Tracking in Oklahoma has just flourished. There's, like evident here, big crowd and people working, interested, wanting to learn how and train dogs and all that. So it's really been a good thing.
You get to network with a bunch of trackers from all over, and so you get to learn all different styles, tactics. You have the ability to network about tracking and learn more, and your collection of knowledge just grows.
Introduce people into the tracking community. Help train people who want to be trackers. Those who have young dogs, help educate them on what to look for and how to actually improve their dog and themselves.
Well, there's a lot of knowledge from a lot of different people from a lot of different states, different terrains, different type of tracking. So there's so much knowledge to be gained. It's a great opportunity to do that all in one place.
I think Tracklahoma is a really good starting point. The advice that you get here and the knowledge you'll leave, I think, is essential for new teams. Not just new teams. I think, maybe trackers that want to freshen up, come run a harder test. I think it's a really good thing to keep you and your dog on path. And also, I've learned the advice you learn from these people. Anyone here, it's valuable advice. Every tracker has a different mindset and a different aspect, and I just think it's really good information, and you'll leave a better tracker because of it.
How long you been doing it?
41 seasons.
I've been tracking for, this finished up my 9th season for tracking for the public.
8 years, this will be my 9th season tracking, but I would say 6 years that I kind of really know what we're doing.
I think it's 6 years. We'll get 20, 30 calls a day during archery season for tracking. Yeah.
My first tracking season was 2009. I got my first tracking dog in 2008.
I've been using dogs since probably the late 90s.
I've been tracking for 10 years full time.
How many deer have gone home with the hunter as opposed to laying dead out in the country?
Oh, forever? Like my whole life?
Since 1982.
Oh, I have no idea. I would have to say it's definitely over 1,000. It could be close to 2,000.
I would say 150.
Yeah, over the years, 150 probably. I think that's fair.
130, 140 tracks. I've probably recovered, 60 to 70 deer out of those, probably somewhere in there.
I would say we're definitely over the 100 mark now.
78 to 125 tracks a year. With the 3 dogs, I'm over the 100 deer recovered.
Total, over 100 between the 2 dogs.
Oh, that times 13 years, probably 300 deer, I would say.
Ooh. Oh, probably somewhere in 150, 170 maybe.
Well, I guess, and if you took, say 15 years, say on an average, let's just say 20 a year, say 300. I'd say 300 something.
We tracked at least 60 to 80 deer a season, so that ranged anywhere from, 22 to 27 deer in a season.
Per average a year, if I average it out for the 10 years, somewhere around 65 to 70, a year. So,
what breed do you track with?
A lab.
I track with Bavarian Mountain Hounds right now. I used to use labs and plot hounds a lot.
Currently right now I track with Catahoulas, and I also have a Teckle.
A teckle. All right, so explain what a teckle is.
German wire-haired Dachshund.
German wire-haired Dachshund.
A fancy wiener dog.
So this is Dolly Darlin, UBT 1, 2, and 3 certified.
This here Dolly is the first dog. We are the first team ever in or from the state of Florida to be UBT 3 certified. She's the first dog from the state.
Frankie is a Dogo Argentino. He's 4 years old. He is UBT 1 certified. He is a run and catch dog. His specialty is stopping wounded deer that are still alive.
I track with a German Shepherd mix as my backup dog, and my main dog is a Catahoula Leopard dog.
Okay, so I'm a Catahoula guy.
So obviously Catahoula is the best tracker.
Well, I'm not
Look at your shirt.
Oh, I'm not a breed snob.
I have a Labrador. My 2 dogs, 2 Bavarian Mountain Hounds.
Wire-haired Dachshund, Teckles.
I do have one Catahoula. I don't use her much because I mainly track with a Bavarian, a Hanoverian, or a Blue Tick. That's my three favorite dogs that I have right now.
I use a bloodhound personally, you know, and a lot of people say that's the top dog. There's other dogs. There's all kinds of breeds here. If you get out and look around, you're going to see all kinds of different. There's coon dogs, there's dachshunds, there's German short-haired pointers. Yeah, German short-haired pointers. You know, so there's a little bit labs. Everything out there, you know, it don't take a specialized dog sometimes. You know, it's just you got to spend the time with that dog and train that dog. So there's an old saying in search and rescue. I was into that a little bit, and you still hear it nowadays used broadly is trust your dog. To me, there's some truth to that, but your dog's not always right. I always say trust your dog, but know your dog. So spend time with that dog. It's that bond. It's not just going out and having that working dog. That's a great thing, and watching that dog do that, but it's the bond that you get along side of you, that bond you build with that animal. You can't replace that. You know, I miss that idea, but I'm glad I had the 10 years with him. He gave me so much.
I'd say every dog can do it, but there's 3 qualities of dog you want. You want one that every dog has a skill set to do it. So you want one that kind of is very interested in a desire to track and stay on track. And then you want one with a little bit of splash of stubbornness to stay on track. So any breed can do it. There's duds and studs in every breed. So, and he's a complete unicorn and anomaly for tracking, for sure, because he's an odd one. And my dog is probably one of the most handsome dogs in tracking, wouldn't you say? Wouldn't you say? My husband says he's made up with spare parts, but I don't, yeah.
He's a nitwit. There's no telling. I don't even think he even knows. One of them starts barking and the rest bark, and it's just peer pressure. I don't know.
But when I show up to a track, people are expecting someone in overalls with a bloodhound to come out. And here I come with my handsome pup. And every time I show up, they go, "Is this your tracking dog?" I go, "Yes, sir, it is." And so we go, and the whole time I'm tracking, I'm like, "Please be dead, please be dead."
What is your role here?
I'm coming as a judge as far as to assist Katie and everybody here as far as running lines and judging the UBT tracks for the people here.
Yeah.
So while I'm here, I've got a UBT 2 that I'm running for someone in the morning, and then we've got a couple of UBT 1s I'm running, and I'm also going to be the line judge on the UBT 3 test on Saturday.
So we're speaking on interacting with the public online and offline for the seminar. We have a slew of different educational materials that we try to get out there, hunters education courses, hunting seminars, wherever we can, and if we can help further the state's newest trackers, then even better. We'll put it to use.
I was asked to come and speak over here in Oklahoma, and I like doing that, and I've got 10 years of experience of tracking, so I can share a little knowledge on that, but also got a pretty interesting story as well. Last October, during deer season, I was shot in the leg with a crossbow bolt, and that don't happen very often. A guy has that happen, so I want to share that story with the group, you know, and hopefully in hopes it'll save somebody's life or prevent injury, you know, because that was a normal day to me, just like any other day. I've been tracking for 10 years, and I never expected anything like this to happen to me in my life, and expect the unexpected in life.
Apprentice. I'm an apprentice studying to be a judge, and then there's a apprenticeship that I'm just started, so I'm in the first stages of that. So if I want to be certified in UBT 1, I have to apprentice 3 of those, and then have a written letter from a judge recommending me to be a judge, and that goes into the director of training. If I'm going to do United Blood Trackers 2 certification, I have to do 3 of those, and the same thing, another letter, and those are the steps that we go.
So right here are the judges, the apprentices, and the speakers. And then right here, there's 60 plus people that are coming in for Tracklahoma from all over, some from Kansas, some from different states, Texas, that are coming up here to Oklahoma to learn about tracking. And a lot of them are from Oklahoma as well.
Cool. And how many tests will be run this weekend?
There's going to be 27 tests that will be run. 27?
Mm-hmm. And you've got it. So how do you organize all that?
That's a tough thing, but it's a collaboration of a lot of people coming together. It takes a village. We have to get deer hoofs, blood processed, hides, and then you have to organize everything, get the lots. As far as Lake Arcadia here in Edmond, Oklahoma, have been very gracious to allow us to have our event here every season. So just walk the lots, and you get the lots all lined out, schedule them with your judges, and then you pair them up with the people coming in to take the evaluation test.
All right, so explain the difference between a UBT1, a UBT one. Start off, what does UBT stand for?
It's United Blood Trackers.
Regardless of what anyone thinks, UBT is the national governing body of tracking in the United States. That's it.
As recognized by who?
Me. It's the only game in town.
Okay.
Well, I mean, there's other games, but they're all, right. We won't even go there.
Okay.
Yeah. UBT is legit. And the UBT testing is legit. It serves a purpose and it has a function. And it says something to me.
Yeah. United Blood Trackers. Okay. And so what is a 1, a 2, and a 3?
Well, the UBT 1 test is more of an entry-level test, and it's not necessarily as much of a test or a certification as it is an evaluation to let that handler know where him and his dog stands or her as far as where they're at as far as in their training. For the 1, you're going to be anywhere from 400 to 500 yards in length. They have 2 90-degree turns in it with 1 wound bed, and it has to age a minimum of 2 hours. Now, it's up to the handler how they train and how they want to run the track. You can either do it with 8 ounces of blood, or you can do it with tracking shoes with the hooves and 3 ounces of blood over the length of the track. UBT2, what it does, it's actually for a little bit later stages where you're a little bit more trained, and that's going to be a longer age track, so it's going to age a minimum of 8 hours. And it's going to be anywhere from 800 to 900 yards in length, have 3 90-degree turns, and 2 wound beds. Now, as far as the choices of the blood or the shoes, it's the same thing. You're still using either 8 ounces of blood across the entire length or 3 ounces and the shoes. A UBT3, that's currently the highest level they have at the moment, and it's not as much about the age of the track as it is everything that you see in real life scenarios. So you're going to have in that track, it's going to be anywhere from about 1,000 to 1,200 yards in length, and it's going to have a distraction challenge in it. You're going to have scent condition challenges, and you'll have surface scent condition or surface challenges, and then you'll have directional challenges in it as well.
This is just another kind of tracking shoe designed to be scent shoes. We put our hooves in here so that we can lay a track with interdigital scent. Has anybody showed you that? This is the interdigital gland. That right there puts off a hormone. And we don't just all things come into factor, but our dogs read this hormone right here. It'll tell everything happy, horny, hungry, and hurt. It's the only hormone in the deer's body that changes by the millisecond. If you see a buck trailing a doe 6-8 hours later and he's sticking his nose to every track, it's because he can physically smell which foot was put down and picked up last. That's kind of the who, what, and where. That tells the difference between, Jack and Joe or just any particular deer. That way they know which one's been hit and not. And also, a deer puts off like a fear-wounded hormone. So my dogs they usually can tell if that deer's going to die or not.
So does the blood not have to match the scent of the hoof?
The blood
it doesn't have to come from the same
deer? The blood doesn't necessarily. The hooves, it does matter. It does because each deer has its own specific smell, just like we do. So the blood itself, not so much going to make a big difference. And I mean, not that this is going to make the biggest difference, but yes, you do want to have hooves, not just I like to match them up front and front, back and back off the same deer. And then I also I personally like to only use hooves from deer that run. I collect my own hooves, that way I can get the ones that have put up a fight. Just
so
because.
if you went hunting, you shot a doe in the head, you wouldn't use that one's hooves?
No, not if I could get any more. But
if you went and tracked a deer and it got up and ran, and you chased it, a mile and a half, that'd be a good one.
Yeah, or even if it only went, airplane. Okay. Even if the deer only run 300 or 400 yards, he's still been given the opportunity to leave more of the hormone and for that fear to build up. So I don't like, I will if I have to, but I don't like using ones off of deer that just dropped and died instantly. I like, for them to have gone a little ways, yes, if they've pumped up a little bit more. Yeah. But I ain't saying that it's going to make the biggest difference. That's just personal preference.
Your dog's actually following the scent line. In other words, you can't just wander around the woods with your dog and accidentally find the target. It has to track the line. Please allow your dog to indicate the target. That's another one of the things that's required. Let's talk about recalls versus restarts. A restart is what you do in the real world. Your dog gets off the line, whatever read you have that shows you your dog is off the line, you notice it, and you say, wait a minute, I think I'm going to restart my dog from that last known spot, a spot of blood, or the last spot where the dog looked good to me, meaning the dog was tracking. A recall is when your dog gets off the line, doesn't show any indication of correcting, and you don't show any indication of noticing that your dog's off the line. We will say, hey Brittany, why don't you bring him back over here? What'd I leave out?
Don't be nervous and good luck.
Oh yeah, nerves. I know you're nervous. I'm nervous. It's natural. There's nothing I can do about that other than to tell you that I know every judge in the country and we all desperately want you to pass this test. The flip side of that is we're not giving away ribbons. But either way, we will both give you as much as we can, pass or fail, of whatever knowledge we think we have to try and make you better at this.
I'm a Honey Not a Shaker. Congratulations. Good job, buddy.
He's definitely a UBT2 dog. That was an awesome test. I know it probably doesn't feel that way to you, but that's how it is.
You sit like
They went right by the first one too.
Yeah, and it's not surprising that we didn't see a lot of blood like Crystal Soul, and he'll turn around and go right back to the line because he knows where the line is, but he thinks this is more interesting because they're dogs. But a dog this age, I would correct him right away. If you can't get him over it, and this is all technique, there's no one right way. I always take the dog back to the scent line, back to a known spot, and put him in a down stay. And that's if it's really egregious, like if he just will not refocus. I put him in a down stay, and I make him stay there until he's a little contrite, you know, until he's like, please, can we track? And I ask him if he's ready, and I tell him to track it, and invariably they'll step right down the line. Nothing, here's my deal with tracking dogs. Nothing good happens unless you do what I want. And what I want you to do is find this animal that I showed you the scent of. And we're not having any fun unless you do it. Period, end of story. We're gonna have a lot of fun if you do it. Always carry water for your dog. And the water is for your dog. It's not for the hunter that didn't bring a bottle of water and he's hot. I almost never coil any extra ropes. And when I get to 29 feet of my 30-foot rope, I grab it and I step off. But there are levels way above UBT2, and you will face those in the real world. You will do half a dozen UBT3s every year in the real world, and probably have already. And this dog is capable of that, and he'll get better now if you just keep him in the groove and show him everything. Take tracks. In general, these guys that say my dog can't do grid searches, it's because they say no to grid searches. The way the dog learns these super advanced checks is by seeing them and seeing them and seeing them. And it's a great achievement, and I'm proud of you. And I mean, you took this dog from nothing and made him a tracking dog. And I mean, I'm getting choked up just thinking about it because I'm ate up.
So he will be 3 in May, and we have been working since he was probably he found his first deer when he was 6 months old. So we started early, and we've been going ever since. So just for me, it's just to have somebody else evaluate the dog and get their feedback. We're always trying to get better and do a better job. I don't want to say do a better job because he does a great job, but we're always trying to learn something new. So it was great to have Al give us all the feedback that he did. I think it's awesome, and we're glad to be a part of it. So thanks to everybody who had a part in putting it on.
The most important thing that I would tell a hunter, have a relationship with the tracker and call them early and often. So, I mean, there is so much that we can tell people about what happens after the shot, by deer behavior, by the sign that they show us, that we can give them advice that is different than what their hunting buddies will show them. When you're behind a good tracking dog, you learn the story about what happened from the point of loss to the point that you find it or don't find it. And as you learn that story, you gain a wealth of knowledge that cannot be garnered or cannot be gained any other way.
Trust your tracker if you're going to call a tracker. He's probably seen it before. A lot of these guys, I mean, there's guys that track 100 deer plus a year every single year. They've seen just about every scenario. I mean, if you tell them the truth, they can probably give you some real good advice, whether they even need to come or they can help you even find the deer without you even bringing a dog. Yeah. You know, if you're gonna call a tracker and he tells you I'm coming, back out of the woods. Don't go in there and stomp the woods up. Most of the times the dogs are gonna tell on you anyway. But it decreases your chance of finding your deer. If nothing else, it's at least going to make it a longer track because the dog has to walk through all your maze, back out, do what we ask, and let us do what best we can do. If we can't find your deer, then call everybody you got, go stomp the woods down, and see what happens.
And don't grid search for sure. You know, just don't do that. You know, if I was to tell hunters, if they plan on using a dog, see if you can locate somebody that's reliable, you know, and when you shoot the deer, if you don't see it fall down, back out, no matter what. And then if you don't see it go down, if you don't want to call a dog, I encourage people to at least look after a certain time. If you don't see it go down, wait 5 hours. I don't care, no matter what you think you did, wait 5 hours, and then go sneak a peek. And if you got a good blood trail, follow it. If it gets skimpy, or that, back out the same way you went in, give me a call.
The biggest thing after the shot I always talk about is the weight. You know, no, there's a huge difference between aim point and hit point, you know, and things happen so fast, it's a blur. A lot of times we think we got that great shot where we're aiming, we don't hit there, you know. But definitely observe the animal, you know, and its actions after it runs off out of sight. But the weight's the most critical thing. I find, talking to a lot of guys, we'll take all them calls. We'll have upwards of 300 calls a season. We'll only be able to do 120 of them on average, like I said. But I hear it on the phone every time when I talk to these guys and interview them, my little process of questions. You know, how long did you wait after the track? Well, we waited 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, sometimes less than that. Got down and started tracking it, and then they bumped the deer at 150 yards. It's about verbatim. I hear that a lot. It's a common thing. So the weight's a very critical thing, you know, in my book, after you shoot a deer, because that seems like a huge mistake. Even on a heart shot or double lung, I would. A dead deer's gonna go nowhere. You know, you bump one that's still half alive, or they get that adrenaline run, he's gonna go who knows where. And usually after a deer beds like that, they got a little bed time, they'll clot up, and that's where it makes it really hard to blood trail, visually blood trail for the hunter, you know, and that's where these dogs come in handy. That's where they call it dog. You know, I can't blood trail anymore, there's no blood. You know, let's get your dog out here and scent the deer.
What I'd like for them to do is, obviously, number one, I want them to try to find their deer. You know, that's a tradition and a skill that every hunter needs to know. But if you track within that first 200 yards, you're on blood that entire time, you haven't found a deer yet at that point, likelihood is that you're either tracking too early, that deer's still alive and you're pushing it, or the shot is more marginal than what you think it is. So at that point, back out, give me a call, we'll talk over the scenario, and then we'll proceed as we need to, all right? But also, another thing, if you see gut material, automatically go home. Go eat dinner, have a good evening with your wife, your kids. You know, give us a call and we'll do that proper wait time, and we'll go in and be able to find that deer.
Practice, 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 and know your shot. And don't take bad shots. You know, bad angle shots. I'm a real bull hunter's ed guy. Like, you just don't take the shot, you know, unless you know.
The number one thing I would tell hunters is wait for the good shot. Stop shooting deer in the head and the neck and the chest and the Texas heart shot. And, you know, the way you kill a whitetail deer is you put a hole in both lungs and you wait for that shot. And if you don't have that shot, you don't have a shot. And I'm not putting it down. I'm just saying, if you don't want to have to call me or someone else in your state, wait for the double lung shot and practice the double lung shot.
And what is it that brings you to here to Oklahoma today?
Katie. Katie was actually my first UBT1 judge.
Met Katie. Katie really got me into it.
This event, I mean, Katie is humble about it, but Katie Sanderson, Jerry Gregson, Tony Rader, she's a linchpin even when it's not her event.
Katie did the yeoman's task of that this year, did a lot. I tried to help her, but she did the most of it this year for sure.
Well, for one thing, Katie invited me, okay? And Katie is a very, very, very nice gal. And she's, of course, maybe it's because I'm old. I think she thinks I'm her dad or something. But anyway, she takes care of me.
What is your secret mojo power?
I don't have any secret mojo power.
I think it's drugs.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it worked on me, so I can't say much. You know, I mean, she got me 25 years ago, and I've been able to say no since.
I can tell you it's not necessarily this event, it's these people that you've already met up here. I mean, the events are cool, that's great, but it's the people, it's the tracking family.
I agree. I was going to say Katie Sanderson.
Yep, Katie Sanderson. Yeah, her, because she asked us, but not just her, but, you know, the sailors, all of them, we're tracking family.
This tracking community is so tight-knit that I look forward to every event I go to.
Yeah.
I love it.
Favorite part's getting to see everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's like family that you have throughout the year, and you guys only get together on the holidays. And you get together at tracking events, and you.
Well, people come from all other, states, and you don't get that every day. So, the camaraderie of like-minded people is excellent.
The people up here, it's always enjoyable. They have a good time, and it's just, I don't know, it's nice.
And then it's a get-together. I mean, you get people from all over the country that come to all these events around the country, and it becomes a community.
One of the best things is the friendship or camaraderie between the trackers when they get discouraged or when they're very encouraged.
We love to track deer. We love to train other trackers. We like hanging out with one another. It's one of the times where this network of trackers from across the country, gets to come together and hang out and tell tracking stories. And we love it. I look forward to it every single year.
The tracking community is pretty tight-knit group. I've got some really good friends that I see twice a year that feels like I've known for 30 years. And it's all because we all got a crazy passion for chasing dogs around the woods, helping people out. I mean, it's just a weird thing that I never thought one dog is going to make me have the friends that I have all over the country.